we love looking at the multi-million-pound super yachts, but I've always said that the very ethos of boating is that it should be accessible to everybody. And I mean that financially, and I mean that ably. And that's why today I'm really, really pleased to bring this boat to you, because this is freedom. And the whole point of this boat is to help people who are living with disabilities get afloat. It's a charity-run boat. It's staffed entirely by volunteers, and we're going to meet a couple of them and have a chat about what they do with the boat, how it operates, and the charity in general. So this, I think, is going to be fascinating. It's a very, very purpose-made boat. We're going to talk about that as well and how it's adapted, and I think it's going to be interesting. I think you're going to enjoy this one. So we'll step on here. You'll notice straight away that there's a ramp, and of course it'll be very obvious what that's for. We'll step onto here and we're going to meet Graham, who is a senior skipper, and also Andrew, who's also a skipper. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello, Nick. Welcome to Freedom.
Thank you very much indeed. It's interesting to mention Andrew in particular, because Andrew contacted me because he's an Aquaholic fan.
Very much. And one of your yacht club members too.
You are indeed, that's true, yeah. Yes. If you've not seen the Yacht Club, go to Patreon and check that out. So gentlemen, this is a fascinating boat. It's obviously a very purpose-made boat. What's it all about? What's the general purpose of the boat, and what do you do with it?
The general purpose of the boat is to be able to take people to sea that wouldn't normally be able to get to sea, and in our case it's mainly people living with disabilities.
Right.
It's, physical disability, mental disability, that kind of thing, and it's just getting people out there at sea, and they just wouldn't normally have the chance, and that is what it's all about.
Fantastic.
That's the reason we do it.
Brilliant. So can we have a quick look around the boat, and perhaps you can show me how it's been built, because this is a purpose-built boat, isn't it?
It's a purpose-built boat. It's a standard safe boat, but it's been converted for our purposes, and we've been going a long time, and over the years we've worked out what we need and what we don't need.
Right.
And this is kind of the culmination of all those ideas all put together. Rather strangely, it might sound a bit odd, the boat is almost designed around the toilet, which is specially built to allow wheelchairs in and that kind of thing. So that was quite a big part of the build of the boat.
Yeah.
Obviously it goes much further than that. We have these seats here which can be lifted up, and we've got these brackets down here which we attach harnesses to, and we construct a wheelchair in here. We can take 6 wheelchairs on the boat, plus 6 other passengers. We're licensed for 12 and 3 crew. So we can have 6 wheelchairs all the way down through there. We've got access at the back for a ramp, and if we're alongside somewhere, we've got another ramp there. We can drop down so people can get out the side of the boat. So
it's probably worth mentioning, actually, which I haven't done yet, is the fact we're in Weymouth.
Yes.
In Dorset.
Yes.
That's quite an important point,
Yes.
isn't it, as to where the boat actually is. So how old is this actual boat?
The boat was brought into service 2021. This is its 4th season now. Okay. So it's it's not very old at the moment.
And how old is the charity?
The charity goes back 42 years.
Wow.
Started off with, I think it was a 27-foot aqua something or other.
Yeah.
And then it went to a catamaran like this, but catamaran wasn't purposely built. It was a fishing boat that was converted, which was kind of a halfway sort of thing. It didn't quite work, and from that boat, we learnt what we needed, and we went for the same hull, but with a lot of changes made to it.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. Okay, and engines. Let's talk about engines, because we're stood right over them.
Yeah, engines. Just lift the hatch up, Andrew, for me, please. Yeah, these are JCBs. They're just under 200 horsepower each.
I don't think I've seen a boat with JCB
engines.
No,
they're fairly new to the scene. Although as JCB, they don't mess around, and they've really hit it quite big for now. I think in America, they're used quite a lot.
Okay.
But so far so good, isn't it? I mean, we haven't really had any issues with them. They're very economical.
Yeah. It's about 13 litres an hour at our sort of operating speed.
Yes, that's right. They're very good. And we haven't had any real issues at all. Just a few minor things, but nothing major. Our engine checks at the moment just consist of opening the lid and saying it's still there, it's yellow, and everything's fine. So hopefully it will remain that way for some time.
How many hours do you reckon you put on these a year? Any idea?
I reckon, looking at, we've got about 1,300 hours on now, so we must be putting about 400-500 hours a year, something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, so we're operating from April to October, weekdays 2 trips a day, So we're out a lot. I think last year we took over 1,400 passengers.
Wow.
So yeah, so we're busy.
Yeah.
And we often have a waiting list for people wanting to come on the boat.
It's worth mentioning, I think, while we're at that point and while I think about it, if somebody does want to come on a trip, how do they organise that and what does it cost?
Okay, that's in terms of organising it. Then via our website, there's a phone number to ring our bookings officer, and Paula will look at availability and book anyone on as a group or individuals if there's spaces.
Mm-hmm.
We don't charge for the trips.
Okay.
The whole charity relies on donations and fundraising. We don't have any paid staff, and there's approximately 40 members within the charity. So everything from sort of fundraisers, secretary, skippers, crew, are all voluntary. We
Right.
don't give up our time, but we're all really passionate about the charity. We love what we do. We love the boat. We love to see the smiles on our clients that come, that enjoy freedom. And I say your slogan of the joy of life afloat, I think, really sums up the Friends of MV Freedom charity as well. I mean, it is. Well, we're just so passionate about it. We love it. We love
Brilliant.
it. Yeah.
That's really great. Let's have a look a bit further then. Perhaps we can go and have a look at the... yes, that's not a bad plan. We should have a look at the Wheelhouse, but on the way around we should have a look at the toilet.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. So the grand opening.
yes, we do this airline style.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So you can actually wheel a wheelchair into there?
Yeah, especially adapted, so we can get a wheelchair in
Yeah.
and obviously turn it around, which is so it's quite a big piece of the boat. And when I say we designed the boat around it, that is partially true.
Wow.
Yeah, how we worked it into the Wheelhouse.
It's quite an important thing, isn't it?
It's
Because
absolutely vital. Yeah,
Fundamental.
people want to feel comfortable.
Yes, that's right.
And there's nothing worse than going out on a trip and thinking,
Exactly.
am I going to last?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's electric flush. So it's all mod cons.
Yep.
It's not heated seat, unfortunately, but
Can't have everything.
But we have now installed electric hand dryer as well, which serves on paper towels being put down the toilet by accident. But and that's a nice little extra too, to have the hand dryer.
Yep.
So yeah, no, it's an important part of the boat. Very much
Fantastic.
so.
We should get a mirror wave in.
Ah,
There we go, three-way mirror wave. That's the first on alcoholic. Let's go and have a look in the Wheelhouse, if we may.
okay.
See what we've got here.
Got all the usual electronics, radios. There's a loud hailer, we can talk to people on the back of the boat. Plotter, engine management systems, inverter, so we can boil the kettle when we're at sea.
Excellent.
Usual electronics. Nothing real extra, just everything that we need for a code of practice category 2, safety. That's it. What a nice little feature we have got is this plotter we can link to an iPad at the back of the boat, and what we can do is I can bring the plotter up on the iPad, we can put the autopilot on, and then somebody sat in a wheelchair that couldn't get in the Wheelhouse can look at the iPad, see where we're going, see the chart, and just by pressing a couple of buttons can steer the boat.
Wow.
whilst it's on it, which is a very weird feeling when you're in here.
Yeah. Somebody
Someone
on the back of
deck
steering.
the boat.
Yeah.
So that's quite nice. They like to do that. So for people that can't get in the Wheelhouse, that is great. But we like to get people in the Wheelhouse if we can. They love steering the boat and you explaining all the systems to them. And we've been out today, and at least half the guys on board all came in and had a go at steering the boat and driving it, and they love it. They absolutely love it.
Brilliant. And actually that's an interesting question to move on to, which is, what do you feel that people get out of it?
When you see their faces, that kind of answers it, really.
Right.
That you know, and it makes me smile. And the joy on their faces, and today was a perfect example. Joy on their faces is really worth watching. You know, I mean, when somebody came in this evening and they said, "This has been the best day of my life," you know,
Wow.
and it's you know, it's just fantastic that they do that.
And what sort of disabilities do you typically see, and what sort of age group do you see as
Well,
well?
the age group is vast. I mean, it's from real youngsters up to people. We've had people here on here 100 years old.
Wow.
And in fact, one of the a lady that used to be in the harbour office here, who knows me from years back, because I've been a charter operator here for many years, she comes out with us. She's just 100,
Right.
you know, and she still tells me off.
Of course.
Yeah.
And what sort of disabilities? Is it just physical, or is it?
No, it's mental issues, physical disabilities. Also, you know, people have been in sort of not necessarily born with a disability. He might have been in an accident. Forces, you know, we get quite a few forces people on here, and they all, without, you know, say, well, this is the only way that we could get to sea.
Yeah, of course.
If it wasn't for this, we wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
You know? And the whole world, as we all know, as we're all sailors, the perspective is totally different when you're at sea.
Completely. Yeah.
I think just leaving the berth and going under the bridge in Weymouth. Weymouth's such a busy little harbour, but you know, that in itself, when we're going out or coming back, for people to wave at to people on the, you know, on the quayside is great in itself. But then, you know, going into Weymouth Bay, if the weather's right and the tide's right, then we can go to Durdle Doyle or with Cove, and that itself, you know, it's such a beautiful, one of the most, you know, loveliest coastlines in the UK.
Exactly.
And we're privileged to be able to do that and to be able to share that with our clients is amazing. And then perhaps popping over to Portland, trying to see the seals, the dolphins, into the marina. You know, so much to see. Just to get the, you know, to get the salty air, get the environment, the wildlife. It's just a privilege to do it.
You wouldn't think that just going around a marina would be that interesting, but it's amazing. If we take the boat into Portland Marina, very good to us. They let us go through the marina, all around the marina, and everyone's looking at all the different types of boats, asking about them, the names, and all this kind of stuff. And so it's interesting, and they just wouldn't get that. You know, wouldn't be able to do that unless they were on the boat. That's something that, you know, is really special to them. And they certainly appreciate it, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, it is a privilege to do it.
Yeah.
And I think everybody who comes on has a good time. You know, we're quite strict with we're going out in the weather and how you know, if it's potentially uncomfortable, we don't sail.
Right.
Yeah.
So skipper's decision on the day before whether we sail or not. To make the you know, it's got to be enjoyable for people.
Of course. I always say that as well with my boat. We're not going out for endurance, we're going out for fun. If it's not going to be fun, we're not going.
And one of the things we have to be very careful with, obviously we can't go out in silly weather, that's just not what we do. But there are some groups, particularly the younger groups, that if it's a little bit cockly, as we say down here, they love it.
Right.
You know? But there's some people that, if it's not flat, calm, they don't, you know, one man's fun is another man's nightmare, you know, that's the thing. So it's a judgment thing. But you get to know the groups, you get to know the people, and you start to get a feel for who wants to do what, and you know, obviously their comfort is paramount. But we're lucky here with Portland, we've got so many places. What kills us here is an easterly wind, because as soon as we get out the harbour, you know, but we can have a lot of wind from the west and hide around Portland and in the harbour, so it's great for sort of hiding away. Easterly is a bit of a problem, but you know, we're very lucky here. And I think the other thing is, and we've all got this, I think we all like to have a laugh, you know, and we've all got senses of humour, you know, and that again is, I mean, to me, when I'm here, I almost feel like I'm on stage, you know, that's how it is, you know, you're here to sort of entertain people as well as drive the boat, and that's the whole thing. You know? I mean, we do all sorts of stupid things, don't we?
Yes. And our props cupboard.
Oh, right.
This is the props cupboard, So we judge people when they sit at the wheel. We decide what we think they are. So they could need to wear a hat like that.
Fantastic.
Or they could be the captain's hat. Or what seems to be the favourite hat of all time is this one, which is the pirate's hat.
Brilliant.
And they do like that. They do like that. I quite like it as well. So we do have a bit of fun with all that. And they like it. And we always, whenever they've been steering the boat, or driving the boat, we give them a little certificate. We've got one in the bag there, just like a helmsman certificate, to say that you know, they were proficient at steering the vessel.
Brilliant.
So this is one there. You just skipper signs it. And they love it.
Yeah.
We usually go outside on the deck and present it to them individually, and they all have a round of applause.
Yeah.
You know, and it just makes the day. You know, particularly with the young ones. Isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Little memento of their achievement, because it is. Yeah. So some of the customers coming into the Wheelhouse and actually getting to drive the boat, I mean, it is an achievement in itself. But the pleasure it gets, and as I said, it's just immense, really.
Yeah.
And a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking of certificates, I can't help noticing there's one on the bulkhead behind you there.
Yes.
There is.
This is well, it's sort of an MBE for charity work, isn't it? That's exactly what it is. And we won this back in 2021. It's signed by a late Queen, and it's got a pride of place here. It all means a lot to us. and just shows how much effort and work goes into this charity. I mean, you don't win these for nothing, you know.
Yeah. So that's a Queen's Award for voluntary service.
That's right. Yeah.
He says, reading it off.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, they're very impressed with that. Yes. So yeah, we're very proud of that. And this is the actual award here.
Oh right, yes, so it is. I hadn't noticed that. I saw a certificate.
Yeah.
I hadn't spotted that one.
Yeah. So it's really proud of receiving that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's really good. So the trips that you go on, how long are they?
Pretty much 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we do 2 trips a day, and they're normally about 2 hours each. Today was a bit unusual in that I did 1 trip because we had the same group on all day, but it was slightly longer than 1 trip, but slightly shorter than 2 because they couldn't get here till later on in the day, which was we obviously we make allowances for all that. But,
of course.
But yeah, about 2 hours, and we might, depending on, I mean, today was very good. We have a firing range here,
right,
and shut close firing today at midday. So it meant I could go past Lulworth Cove down to Wheelbarrow Bay, and we anchored up and had lunch in Wheelbarrow Bay behind Mute Rocks. It's just fabulous. It's just absolutely brilliant. Yeah. But if we can't get there, sometimes we go down to the Bill, go into Lulworth Cove, and obviously Portland Harbour. So you get a lot of shelter from particularly the west. So it's great. And if you do a 2-hour trip, by the time you get to Wheelbarrow Bay, have a bit of lunch, it's time to come back again. You know, so it's
So in terms of funding, how is the charity actually funded?
Entirely through donations and voluntary contributions. We don't receive any government or local authority grant, so it's entirely on what we receive through the trips. We don't charge, but we ask for a donation towards the running costs of the boat. The boat costs about 20,000 a year to run. And obviously we've got to put money aside as well for a new boat. So it's not just funding the existing boat. We're trying to bank money for a few years' time to buy a new one. But yeah, so it's all through fundraising and voluntary contributions.
Although we do take donations on the boat, the reason we don't have a fixed price is because we only want people to pay A, what they think it was worth, and B, what they can afford. You know, because £5 to somebody is a lot of money, and we just don't want to force people into feeling they have to pay X amount of money. Yeah,
I think, and as well, particularly with the sort of economic climate at the moment. We don't have a fixed price. And that's important, I think, as part of the enjoyment for everybody.
Totally. Ideal. Brilliant. That's been absolutely fascinating. I think the last question then to ask is that if people want to get involved, either financially or physically, if they want to help out, how would they get in touch?
Well, I think the best thing to do is you can Google MV Freedom. We have a website, which is mvfreedom.co.uk. There's all information on there about how you can get involved, either raising funds, or you can contact us by the phone number and talk to us if you want to interested in helping out as crew. We have had a bit of an issue recently with skippers, but now, thanks to Andrew and 3 other guys, we've now got 6 skippers. I think it was the most we've ever had. But we've really struggled because we all have to be, although it's a charity, we have to be commercially commercial skippers and commercially endorsed. So that's quite hard to do that. We've struggled a little bit, but we've pulled it together this year, so we're really pleased about that. But as I say, the website. You can phone up, email to the address on the website, anything you want to do with the charity, whether it's fundraising or just getting involved or wanting to book a trip. It's all the information's there.
Brilliant. That's fantastic, gentlemen. That's been brilliant. That's been so interesting, and it's really, really great to see such an inclusive way of going boating. And as I said right at the beginning of the video, I think boating should be and is for everybody. And you guys are doing a really good job of making sure that is the case.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and really a pleasure to have you on board, Nick. Thank you.
No problem at all.
Thank you, Nick.
Well, let me know what you think of that one, guys. I think that's been a really interesting one to have a look at. And as we mentioned before, if you're interested in getting involved in any way, either in terms of a trip or in terms of helping out, have a look at MV Freedom. Google it on Google, obviously. It's the best place to Google it, probably. And I'm sure they'll be pleased to hear from you. And we will look forward to catching you on one of these real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.